it's Shawnee. Welcome back. And today it is time for our weekly roundup, where I take a look back at all of the palettes that I used over the past week and I rank them from least liked to most liked. Now, typically I do like all of the palettes, but for some reason I might like one better than the other, or I might like a look that I did better than the other. And so that's kind of how I put the ranking together. So this time we have 7 palettes with 8 slots. And the reason we have 8 palettes with 7 slots. And the reason we have 8 palettes is because I did use 2 together. Now, typically what I will do is I will use 2 palettes and make one look, but this time I actually used the 2 palettes, one on each eye. You'll understand when we get there. So let's just go ahead and jump in and start. In number 7, we have the 2 palettes, and those are the Claws and Paws palettes from Menagerie Cosmetics. Now, I like both of these palettes. They are really cute. Here is Claws, and here is Paws. So you can kind of see they give very different vibes, but I honestly liked both of them, and I like the looks that I did with both of these palettes. As I've been using more and more Menagerie Cosmetics, this is my second purchase from them, so my second and third palettes, I am really noticing that I enjoy their shimmer formula a lot. I feel like their shimmers are so pretty. They all seem to have some kind of multi-chrome duochrome-ness to them. I'm liking their shimmers more than I'm liking their mattes, but I've found that all of their shades are high pigment, they show up well on dark skin, and I've just really been enjoying them. And this week, these 2 palettes come in at number 7. Yes. Number 6 is the palette that I have on my eyes today, and this is a brand that pops up a lot in my rankings because I have a lot of palettes from this brand. And the palette is the NATASHA DENONA Sunrise palette. Now, this is one that I have gotten a lot of use out of, and basically today I went ahead and used this row here along with this shade and this shade a bit as well. Now, I really like this palette. You can see that I've hit pan on one of the shades, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but there are some dips in some of the other ones. This is a palette that I always think of, this one and Sunset. I always think of them when I want a bright kind of sunny look, and I really enjoy the look today. I feel very bright and sunny. And I paired it with the Velvet Morning lipstick from Lisa Eldridge. So that is the Sunrise palette from NATASHA DENONA in number 6. Number 5 is the Serenity palette from Cosmic Brushes. Now, this is one I used to do a palette bingo, and it was a collab video with Will Venus, so make sure you go over to their channel and check out the look that they did. I will say that Will imitated me in their intro, and it's so on point and iconic and hilarious. You just like have to go see it. So this is a palette that I used, like I said, in a palette bingo. So I randomly chose the shades that I used. This palette is really great on deeper skin tones. All of the shades show up, and each one is distinct enough where they don't get muddied together. I really am enjoying Cosmic Brushes, and their formula. I have this palette along with their Royal Rose palette, and I'm planning on using that because I saw someone do a really nice look, so that'll probably be in my roundup for next week. But yeah, I enjoyed this palette. I enjoyed the look. Using it in a palette bingo made me have to be really creative with what I was coming up with, and I think I did a pretty good job. So that is number 5. Number 4, this is the NABLA Side by Side Nude Palette. Now, this is a palette that I have had for a while, and I have hit pan on 3 shades. Yes, and I'm trying to hit pan on more. I think this is the last year that this is going to be in my collection because I have gotten a lot of good use out of it, but I also have some newer like neutral nudie palettes. This is one though that I really like, and if you can pick it up, I think you will enjoy it. I was initially hesitant because I wasn't sure that the shades would show up well on my skin tone, but they do. I really liked the look that I did with this palette, and it continues to remain a favorite palette of mine. So that was number 4. Numero 3. Here is another person who is always in the Roundup, and that is the Dame Patricia McGrath. And this is the Pat McGrath Labs Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette in Nude Allure. This is the palette that I took to work with me the other day when I did my makeup in the office, and I really liked it. I used 2 shades. I used this shimmer all over the lid, and then I used this one matte in here as a way to blend out in the outer V. I love the packaging on this because it's really like it's not fussy. It's just like cardboard packaging, and so I feel a lot more comfortable taking this with me to work, like in my work bag. If you saw, I now have a huge work bag that I think Dawn said Rosé could probably fit in, and I think so. I'm gonna try it. But this and the other one, I can't remember the name of it, but I have both of these 2 that were her first 5 pans recently to come out, and I know she has 3 more that were released with the Star Wars collection, and I kind of really want those too, just because I feel a lot more comfortable taking this to the office than I do with taking her larger palettes or even her quads, just because I'm afraid of breaking something. But I feel like these are actually pretty secure despite being in cheaper packaging, and I really just liked the look that I did with this. And I know my sisters liked it too because they tend to like neutrals and browns and stuff, and so anytime I do a super neutral look, they're like, ooh, I like it. So that is number 3. Number 2 is the Lethal Cosmetics Nightflower palette. Now, I did a look with this based on a photo that my partner sent me. I just really wanted to kind of emulate the photo, which has a lot of purples and pinks in it. It was just this beautiful sunset, and I really love the look that I came up with. Now, I like Lethal Cosmetics. I have quite a few of their palettes. Most of their pre-made palettes I do have, along with a bunch of singles. I just have a lot, right? I also have several of their face powders, and this year I will be purchasing their brushes. So the only thing about this palette is you are going to be limited in terms of the looks that you create. So if you are not a purpley, pinky lover, then I would say stay away from it, because every single shade, even the one that looks kind of blue, they all lean in that purple, lavender, pink, magenta, all of those shades. It definitely leans that way. So if you're not into that, then you might not be a fan, but if you are into it, these shades are stunning, and I really, really enjoyed the look I created with this palette. Now, number 1 is the Melt Cosmetics 27 palette. Now, I've been around the sun a couple of times since 27, so can't relate to the age, but I really enjoyed this palette. This is one where I did a pretty simple look, I think with just 2 or 3 shades. I used this shimmer here along with this matte and this one over here, and it was just a nice simple look. This is a pretty warm tone palette. I would say a lot of people would see using this in the fall. Even the packaging looks very like fall inspired, foliage, whatevs. So there's that. I really enjoyed the look that I did with this palette. I also wore this same lipstick, the Lisa Eldridge Velvet Morning lipstick, along with the look. The shades were really easy to use. I was able to use my finger and a brush with the shimmer, and the mattes were really easy to blend out with a brush, and it was a pretty quick, simple look. Very neutral, very like warm, just really pretty, very work appropriate. So those are all of the palettes that I used this week. Let me know what you were using this week, and also if you have any suggestions for what I should use next week. I'm going to try to remember to use the Cosmic Brushes Royal Rose, and maybe even pull out the Colored Rain Rebellious Nudes. That might be a good one to pull out now too. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have some suggestions. A lot of you have probably put some of my palettes to memory, so you might be able to give me a suggestion of what you think I should use for the next week. Now, hopefully some of that was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. Please like the video, and also feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.